Major bass, sway to the beat. Hands up, embrace who you wanna be.
Plain Arcadia 4.5 is right around the corner, and with it comes absolute chaos, the revival of the Veracity, and Graphia doing everything she can to reseal the world within the world in Canvas, all as the Astral Express crew works to transport the citizens of Ahatopia to safety in Astropolis, the IPC vacation world. But in the midst of all of this, we have a long-awaited character arc that I am surprised that we are getting now. A character that I have had choice words for in the past. In fact, one of the first characters that I ever made a video about on this channel, Robin, the sitting head of the Oak family. None other than the bird brain responsible for the IPC getting shares in Penacony. But what is so fascinating about all of this is that all of this about our character that I absolutely can't stand is changing very soon. Because this Summeretto Robin skin is not just a happy-go-lucky summer outfit, but this represents a turning point in her character. Yes, Sunday just finished his arc in Plain Arcadia, and now his little sister is taking her turn to take the spotlight, stepping out of her brother's shadow and becoming her own person for the first time in her life. Because this is the true meaning of Summeretto revealed. Okay, so first things first, we gotta talk about Robin and why her perspective on the Harmony has changed. Well, it turns out this was all foreshadowed since her childhood, because her hometown was destroyed by a Stellaron when she was an infant. Yes, though Holovians are Sheepei's blessed species, and Sheepei is the racist Aeon that preaches the joy of human harmony and unity, even though there are non-human species out there not very inclusive for the Aeon of universal harmony, then proceeded to personally bless Holovians, again, not very harmonious to be picking favorites here, but it doesn't matter anyway because they let a Stellaron fall on their world when they created the Stellarons. I don't like Sheepei, and this Aeon becomes more villainous by the day, but that's besides the point. Because due to this fallout, Robin lost her mother and was raised by the family as a part of a very generous aid program, which provided the finest education and protection for Robin and Sunday. And as she grew up, her hobby of singing became her occupation, with the first song being dedicated to those who have lost hope, a theme that would remain consistent throughout her career, and later extend to seeking to preserve songs from dying worlds, hoping to keep those voices and cultures alive with her voice. Which is very remembrance-coded, wink wink nudge nudge, in-game paths theory and all that, leading to her struggling to find the meaning of singing in the first place, eventually being content in easing pain and spreading peace where she can. But all of her underlying issues would come to a head in Penacony, because it was here that she realized just how in the dark she truly was. You see, when you look at Penacony from the perspective of Robin, it's really sad. This is her home, yet she knew nothing about it, and due to the contamination of the Order, she even lost control of her voice and her tuning ability. All while multiple people openly took advantage of her, while she, despite having a high position in the family, was powerless to do anything. Let me explain. You see, Robin, as the little sister, has always viewed Sunday as her protector.
My brother has always been my protector, and I've never contemplated stepping out of his shadow. Yet even though we may take different paths, I am still his little sister.
But it was because of this protection that he left her in the dark for so long, keeping her from the end of the Order resurrection plan and lying to her that he was serving Sheepei, which was already a cruel blow, a wound that Sparkle poured salt into as she taunted her on multiple occasions before this was all revealed to her.
As for that mask of yours, is it really called the Harmony? The twin of the Order?
You think you can scare me? You think I have no idea what you're planning? I don't care what you're thinking, chicken wing boy. But I'm pretty sure our lovely Robin won't be appearing on stage. After all, you're well aware of what a sorry state this dreamscape is in under the banner of Harmony. Penacony, the land of the dreams. Is this truly the paradise you desire?
Stop it.
Further throwing it in Robin's face how powerless she was and how little she knew about her own world, path, and Aeon. And then we had Dahlia running circles around her, and for some reason Robin allowing Dahlia access to her memories, which would have been really bad if it wasn't for Black Swan, who Sunday sent to save her. And we also had the Dream Master Gopherwood murdering people and causing problems, who was their benefactor, by the way. With, of course, this all culminating with Robin turning her voice on her brother and preventing him from resurrecting End of the Order, him going to prison and then being separated from her, leaving her to shoulder all of the responsibilities of leading the Oak family, something she was not prepared for in the slightest, because the first thing she did was give away sensitive information to Jade in exchange for Sunday's freedom, and then inevitably gave shares in Penacony to the IPC. So yeah, Robin has had it rough, and her life has crumbled around her, with everyone she trusted to protect her being stripped away, which appears to have changed her in a way that will inevitably lead to her growth as a character. Because she appears to have realized something. For the entirety of her life, she was under someone's thumb. She at no point in her life has had autonomy. She is a Holovian, so she naturally followed the Harmony, only for Xipe to destroy her home. She is the little sister of her family, so she naturally lived in the protection of Sunday's shadow, only for Sunday to leave her in the dark. She dedicated her life and career to spreading Harmony, only for Harmony to be revealed to be swaying towards Order, which in turn cripples her ability to sing. Everything that has existed to protect her since her birth has either died or betrayed her. Then when she scrambled for information, she was taunted, ignored, and manipulated, which has left her in a state that we find her in now. She allied herself with Jade, but she was used. But she is a Holovian of the Harmony, but the family has taken advantage of her for her entire life. So she is now in a mental state where she rejects both. Harmony isn't what she thought it was. It's not about spreading peace, and perhaps never was. It's about control and dominance, with everyone following the path being puppets for Xipe to use for the expansion of their path. And on the other side, we have the IPC, who are obvious corporate puppets all being used for profit and monetary gains. Hence why we see strings on the Harmony side and the IPC side, going so far as to have puppet joints and such. But in the middle sits Robin, with both paths reaching out to her and sitting in the middle in an attempt to deny both. She refuses to let her life be dominated by the IPC, and she refuses to allow the Harmony to strip away her free will. Her opinion of what the Harmony should be is different from what it is becoming. So in my most honest opinion, Little Miss Charmony Dove here is in for an arc of her own, because she's got some life decisions to make. But what concerns me is that Xipe is not going to take this lying down, because Robin isn't being very harmonious right now. She is not following the collective and seems to have the attention of a harmonic string. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this figure in the red dress is a harmonic string, but through her depiction in the Anti-Destruction Alliance trailer, we know that this is a very important figure. But allow me to present my theory. Humor me for a bit. Because Xipe's main goal is to assimilate all paths into themselves, and a world of elation has just been weakened to the point of nearly being taken over by Ouroboros entirely. So, with many elation pathstriders and Imaginate fleeing for their lives, who better to send than their harmonic string, Beatriz, the merrymaker of the blissful ball. Keyword merrymaker. Perfect for elation, who of course would take the form of a dancer, hence blissful ball. Because we already know from Amphorius that when aeonic conflicts break out, other aeons start to third party, and Xipe of all aeons is a master of this, already consuming End of the Order in the chaos of the Swarm disaster. So we know that Xipe is not above taking advantage of this situation and engaging in some Nanook style path poaching, something that also kills two birds with one stone, sending a harmonic string to put Robin back in line because an Oak family head is not being harmonious right now, and also sending the most suitable one to greet elation followers. So we have a lot of things going on here, but what I am most excited for is the choice Robin, who will be at the head of all of this, will make. Will she resign herself to being controlled, or will she continue to push for her definition of the harmony, making peace and promoting unity instead of obedience and domination? Because hypothetically, if she is victorious and able to push harmony further away from the order and more towards peace and unity, this could stop Sheepei from becoming a path of finality. Without the hive mind aspect of Sheepei, the cosmos is spared from the possibility of omni-aeon Sheepei eating all other aeons and becoming a cancerous blob of path energy that inevitably leads to the death of the universe. So this may look like a sweet little summer story, but the stakes are real. Robin being a family head of the Oak family means she has just as much status and influence as Sunday had in 2.2. The only question that remains is that will she have the resolve to sing her own tune, hoping that others harmonize to her? Being an individual in a sea of harmony followers is not something that is easy. It is perhaps the hardest thing to do as a harmony follower, but I believe that Robin has what it takes to make it happen and turn the harmony back to being a path that protects the weak instead of smothering them, making unity mean comfort and perseverance over submission and obedience. Which brings me to the word summeretto, which isn't a word, but so far as I can see, it's based off of the word falsetto. And forgive me if I'm wrong here, but listening to how Robin sings, I think she does sing mostly falsetto, like an octave or two above her normal speaking voice and relatively airy.
My brother has always been my protector.
Yeah, it sounds like falsetto to me. Bro was cooking up nothing in the kettle. Yeah, sorry about that, but if I were to take other examples of people singing falsetto and put them next to Robin, 90% sure this is still falsetto. Pretty sure no one talks like this. This breathy, airy, light tone of singing fits Robin's style perfectly. Again, let me know if I'm right or wrong. But what I think this represents is very interesting, because for those with deeper voices, this vocal register allows people to sing above their normal voice's range. That's what falsetto is, which is why the word false is there. It's a false voice. But this also, in a way, brings a more emotional theme to whatever is being sung, so we can see that Robin is in her feels, and a lot of Summeretto Robin's story will be about the way that she feels in her evolution as a character. The IPC wants her, Sheepei wants her back in line, but Robin is done being a cog in a machine and living in the shadow of the collective, which is once again a bold move for a Harmony Pathstrider, because this is the true meaning of Summeretto revealed. I don't normally psychoanalyze characters like this, but every now and then I really feel like stuff like this is called for. As someone who grew up writing essays on art pieces and Shakespeare, I've really been dying to do some more videos on the mental states of characters and what their actions may be going forward. That stuff really gets me hyped up. I have had some really harsh words for Robin in the past, admittedly, but that does not mean that I am not rooting for her. In a world as cruel as the Honkai Star Rail universe, she needs to toughen up and learn to fend for herself, especially as the Oak family head. Sunday had his arc and is now part of the Trailblazing family, and now it is time for Robin to stand out on her own and make her own decisions for the first time in her life. And I am hyped for it. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.